Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Laubach along with Mike Joseph. This is Behind the Mic, the first time for 2017. And we're feeling a little jittery because it is the first time, but can you imagine what the football players are feeling? There's a lot of intangibles going into this ball game. Game number one for both squads for the season. You've got a brand new stadium being dedicated up at Monmouth, and we've got a brand new head coach coaching his first college football game. Mike, the nerves must be all over the place.
I would imagine they are a lot of firsts, but for John, I think it's going to be for Coach Garrett is like riding a bike. I mean, I really think so. He's going to be calling his own plays. I think he's really comfortable with the staff that he's put together. I think he's comfortable with how the kids have kind of bought into his system, how they run around. I've watched more than one practice, and I see the energy and I see the upbeat personality of all the kids, the way they come on, come off the field between drills. It's been a really great camp for him. So I think when he gets down to it after that first play, he'll have those jitters. But just like a football player, after the first hit, you're ready to roll.
A bit of a homecoming for him as he's going back to Monmouth, an area that he knows very, very well. And, of course, the head coach is Kevin Callahan, the only coach that the Monmouth Hawks have ever had. He's been there for now 25 years, and I'm sure they want to rebound from what was not a terrific season last year. But if you look at their play against the Patriot League, they knocked off Fordham, they knocked off Lehigh. So this is a team that should be much, much better this season.
Yeah, they're a formidable opponent. They know how to play football down there, and I think they're at a point where they're getting better each year, and they're really kind of putting, as Kevin, I watched him on his website, he's kind of putting one practice on top of another, building blocks. And I think he's got a quarterback now, a younger quarterback, but a guy that he trusts. He's got a nice running back in place. He's got a defense coming back. He's got some big, tall, wide receivers. I think he's right where he wants to be, and those building blocks are in place for a guy who's been the only coach at that school.
Mike mentioned their youth, and that is where their youth is. It's at quarterback, and it is at running back, but there's no youth as far as the offensive and defensive lines are concerned. For the most part, they're all back, and they obviously have some talented kids. They've got 4 all Big South players, and Mike Basile, Alex Thompson, Reggie White, and Jake Powell, most of them on the defensive side of the ball, but obviously Reggie White's an outstanding wide receiver. And Mike Basile is a preseason All-American.
Yeah, Basile's a terrific player. I mean, I think he plays down close to the line of scrimmage. Reminds me a little bit of Jerry Poe. Down close to the line of scrimmage, can make tackles, can get out in the flat, cover guys. He's just a terrific ball player, quick. He's got all that experience and that energy to bring those guys together. They're a group, and I think one of the big factors for this game is the game's at home for them. I think that's huge. They don't have to travel. They knocked off last year in their opening game the Patriot League champion, so they should be feeling pretty good about where they stand.
And standing on Kessler Field will be a new experience for them. It is absolutely brand new. It is the first ball game played there. They will dedicate the field, so there are a lot of positives in terms of psychological advantage for this football team going in to the Lafayette game. As we mentioned, they're a little young at quarterback, a redshirt sophomore in Kenji Behar. He did start the last 3 games last year, but nobody has more youth at quarterback than the Lafayette Leopards, and we're still, I think, guessing a little bit as to who the starter's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be 6'2" freshman Sean O'Malley out of California. At least that seems to be the word right now.
Yeah, he's taken, I think, the majority of the reps down here the last couple days. Ball comes out of his hand nice. I mean, really very well poised in the pocket. I've seen him climb the pocket. I've seen him dash to his right, dash to his left. I've seen him run the football. And remember, in high school, he ran for over 500 yards as a senior, so he can get it done in a lot of different ways. It was a true competition. I really think it was a true competition, and a lot of coaches say that. But when you got 8 quarterbacks and you got a kid that's going to be a senior coming back, he opened it wide. And I think O'Malley rose to the top. There's probably a guy or two that he may look to use as well in different positions, but a kid that I think can deliver the football. And what I talked about inside the huddle, under 15 yards, he's going to have to be 75 to 80% in those short intermediate throws to keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving.
And as far as the depth chart is concerned, it's another freshman sitting behind him right now as we talk. Cole Northrup out of Florida is going to be the backup quarterback, we think. So we look at this quarterback situation. Obviously great receivers to throw to, but it still is going to center on that offensive line. That may be the biggest question mark again going in.
It's been a question mark in my mind since we ended the season. I mean, the offensive line has got to find a way to protect him, and whether they're going to move. And some things John has done is kind of move him out of the pocket a little bit, buy some extra time, use a fullback a little bit to get it a little extra protection. The young running backs, I know we have Deshaun, but there's some young running backs that have flashed as well. They're going to have to know what to do in protection. So keeping him upright, not having that rush in his face is going to be huge. This offensive line, And you hate to say it, but this offensive line, how they do is how this Lafayette team's going to do this year.
And the strength of the football team is going to be defensively. It's up to the defense to keep us in football games until we get an offense generated.
Yeah, best defensive front seven that I've seen here in a long time, really a long time. 8 guys up front you can roll through, possibly 9. You got a number of linebackers. You got guys stepping up, also behind Brandon Bryant and behind Michael Root. Hinchin's a guy you can plug and play anywhere. And then to have Jerry Poe up close to the line of scrimmage and have an experienced secondary, a secondary I think that's going to have to play off the fact that these guys up front are going to get to the quarterback.
Well, we know how nervous the players may be before they get the first hit. How nervous will John Garrett be before he gets his first play called?
You know, John's going to be nervous, I think, on the bus ride down. He's going to be excited. You know, I think he's going to turn all of that nervousness into excitement, into energy, and he's going to show you exactly what he wanted to bring to the Hill.
Well, we'd like to say we're going to be there to do the football game, but we will not. We'll be there, but we cannot do the football game, but it will be on ESPN3. You can watch it on your computer if you cannot get down to West Long Branch, New Jersey to watch the ball game between the Lafayette Leopards and the Monmouth Hawks. Mike and I will be back next week. We will have Sacred Heart on the Lafayette Sports Network. Thanks for joining us. He's Mike. I'm Gary. We'll see you next week.